Alrighty. Welcome to the CGA show. We're just going to get right into it with the dice roller today. So I've already started. So we'll go in order of like who spoke last, as usual.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Dom, you pick first. Noah, you're next. I go last this time.
Okay. I will choose the number 27.
Okay. Noah.
I'm gonna go with 82.
Okay.
Ooh, you guys put me in a bind here. Okay.
So now, where do you go? Dead center?
63.
63.
Damn it, I'm talking today.
Okay.
It's 54.
All
All right. All right. Wheel of names.
We live.
I've
No, I'm
been.
not going to say it because copyright.
Oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? For the
Did you
first
Oh,
time
finally
is
get
the
it?
ever.
curse back?
Did you finally
Nope.
get it?
It gave me conspiracy.
Finally.
Ooh,
Look
okay.
at that. See, when I don't play any games on this game, it's just like, all right, fine. I'll give you what you want. Perfect. Finally. It's been waiting for like a whole fucking month now. Okay. All right, let me pull up my little script here. Cue the music. Not now, but later. But
In post, yeah.
all right, boys. Picture this. In the year 2030, there's a brilliant but enigmatic scientist named Dr. Noah Valentine. And he unveiled a revolutionary breakthrough in holographic technology. Okay? Now, his invention, which we're going to name as Project First Order, it promises to redefine reality itself. Now, you have seen holographic technology, here and there over the last 20 years or so. We had that whole fiasco with what was it, Snoop Dogg, I think. Tupac, right? Holographic version of Tupac and Michael Jackson, I believe. Like they did that in a concert. Yeah, they had something like that where they tried using holographic technology as a first time use, right? But that's in the past because we're now into the future. Well, technically, from our point in time, about like almost 6 years from now.
Yeah.
So now, unbeknownst to the public, except Dr. Valentine here. No, Dr. Noah Valentine here. I use his full name.
Full government name, yeah.
Full government name. He harbored a dark secret agenda. See, there have been rumors on the internet, as there usually are, and there are many conspiracy channels out there, possibly ours as well, where whispers of a clandestine global initiative code-named Project Bluebeam circulated amongst all the denizens of the internet, and mostly the conspiracy theories, really, and some rational thinking people thinking that there might be a possibility, but most of them don't really care. Now, what do they claim? Okay, what do these theorists claim? They say that a powerful entity was plotting behind the scenes to manipulate the world's population on just a massive, unprecedented scale. Now, Dr. Noah Valentine, who is a key figure into this alleged conspiracy, aimed to orchestrate a seismic shift in the human mind, in the consciousness itself. Now, Project First Order, it's a very interesting name. I don't know why Dr. Noah Valentine decided it. It could be a part of him is evil, but another part of him just loves Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I don't know this person, but Their Project First Order gained widespread attention. See, it wasn't long before a few peculiar occurrences started happening across the world, and such as mysterious lights in the sky, often following a tragic event or a war, let's say, right, in a specific part of the world where all the cameras are focused. And now, in countries especially where there is civil strife, it was odd that in their skies in particular, they started appearing these figures resembling almost like religious icons. Not exactly religious icons, but almost. Okay. Sometimes extraterrestrial beings, because that's an easy one. Throw a flying saucer out there and someone will think it's from some other galaxy far, far away. And the occasional, and I thought this was funny on Dr. Noah Valentine's part, but the occasional mythical creature would show up. It's funny because I sometimes like to look at the misty skies, scream at the top of my lungs, oh, look, a dragon. Well, nobody listens to me.
Yeah.
So,
of course, as they shouldn't.
As they shouldn't.
Agree to disagree. So people were captivated by these lights and these shows in the sky. But there's some point, people couldn't tell what was real, what was an illusion. You see, it started off with these crazy figures, these religious type figures, mythical creatures, UFOs. But then it started melding into more realistic things you would see in the sky, such as, airplanes flying ahead, usually weather balloons, your
Clouds.
local news helicopters. No, not clouds. But sure,
Regular
why not?
things.
I guess you could put in clouds. But no, all these things that were regular, normal. It wasn't until a little boy by the name of Andrew decided to check the local websites that track these things and realized that, wait a second, there were no airplanes flying during this time in this airspace. There was nothing scheduled to be flying about during this time. Checking weather balloons, there's none in my area. I swear I saw one. I have video proof. And when asking other people, they also claimed, yes, I've seen it too. Perhaps the websites are just wrong. Perhaps that you didn't check properly. Maybe you made an error. Why would anybody lie about a weather balloon not being in your area? What's there to lie about?
Getting gaslit about weather balloons?
Right? Like, who would be crazy
lie
enough
about
to
that?
fake weather balloons and a bunch of other things? Now, see, in the midst of these bewildering events, our charismatic leaders, we'll say, had emerged. These people that we've never seen before, much like people during the pandemic who just sort of came about and started spewing a bunch of shit, right? And then selling courses subsequently.
Yes.
So, same thing.
Get your financial freedom.
Right. Exactly. Turn your 10K into a million in a
Invest
day.
with 100 today, be a millionaire in 10 years.
Right? Exactly.
Buy my $5,000 course.
Except these charismatic leaders weren't selling you a course. What they were selling you is a prophecy. Okay. Now, some of them were more religious than others. Others base it more off on science because, they knew that some people are just not of the faith. Yet, all of these charismatic leaders all knew each other. They were all spewing the same thing, generally the same message, but in pockets or segments that would be more favored towards a particular group of people. One message might be towards the faithful, one might be towards the more atheist brand, one might be more towards the hopeful conspiracy theorists out there, right?
Right.
So what they started all claiming is that there is some connection to these images with a divine sort of being, and if it's not divinity, then it has something to do with the early stages of the Big Bang itself, that something started and we could probably recreate it. What they preached is a new unified global mantra. Okay, you could call it a mantra, you could call it a religion, you could call it whatever you want. It's just a global sort of hashtag for everything. Okay,
there is no Dana, only Zool.
Sure. I don't even know what that means.
No Dana, only Zool.
What a lovely singing voice you must have.
Let me finish my goddamn story. urging their followers to abandon all other traditional beliefs, and whether it's religion or science, just abandon it in favor of this new cosmic revelation. See, at first, most people in society laughed it off. They're just like, this is stupid. Why would we believe these crazy people telling us that we can 10x our money in a month? But then bills started coming, right? And you started to wonder, why do certain people get paid more? And then you started seeing like one of your random uncles 10x their money somehow, not realizing that they were part of the scam too. Much like that, society started to teeter towards the brink of this transformation of thought. See, there was a growing fear and uncertainty that gripped the hearts of millions of people, because it started with that little boy who was saying, hey, the little boy was just crying out wolf, really, at that time. But
right,
there was a wolf, except nobody really believed him at that time. But now people started wondering, as these charismatic leaders had started putting these theories out, that there are actual beings out there giving us these cosmic images. Now, simultaneously, as these images were happening, and they happened around the world in certain parts during certain times, but it wasn't until a particular moment of 2030 where there was a simulated global catastrophe struck in very precise locations. Holographic earthquakes that looked real, that felt real. But really nothing happened. Now followed by what looked like holographic tsunamis, but was a real tsunami.
Ooh.
And wiping out hundreds of thousands of people. Lots of death. Yet, in other scenarios, nobody died. But in some cases, there was a oncoming army. And that didn't happen, but another country got attacked instead. Now, the world started recoiling a bit. The people didn't know what was real and what wasn't. And as we're always so stuck to our phones, during this time, what started happening is, while this is not really related to Dr. Noah Valentine's plans, it actually did work out in his favor, because during this year of 2030, we started fully rolling back to a more remote work experience. Our technology had gotten to the point where it was viable for most jobs, and for the most part, people were employed. However, as you know, when we do create these automations, people, there are good chunks of people that are let go, right? But that's not important to this story. Now, while it's not technically directly related, a lot of people rely upon what they see on their devices. Not a lot of people are working physically at locations anymore. So, to Dr. Noah Valentine, this actually accumulated the best sort of moment for his grand plan, right? Now, every corner of the planet, including remote places on the planet, started seeing images being propped up. Now, you might wonder, why would we show if this was an actual evil master plan of some sort of being, right? Why would we show images in the middle of buttfuck nowhere? Like literally buttfuck nowhere. I don't mean like when we make fun of Guelph. No, I don't mean that. I mean literally in the middle of nowhere, right? Why would we show images there, right? But see, nobody has to explain that to you, because it just makes you wonder. So behind the scenes, Dr. Noah Valentine reveled in his success. Every single person, well, almost every single person, but in his mind, every single person was unknowingly dancing to the orchestrated symphony of the First Order of his project Bluebeam. Even governments were manipulated by the fear of some sort of impending catastrophe. They began relinquishing slowly. It started with one. Eventually, it went up to the larger nations with the higher GDPs, where they started relinquishing their sovereignty to this first world order. And yet, not everyone was fooled. Not everyone should be. You see, a group of, we'll call them very brave journalists, for a lack of a better term here, and also to not get canceled, led by a tenacious journalist as well. We'll call him, what should we call him? J. Jonah Jameson.
Yes.
Delved into this mysterious First World Order project Bluebeam. And what he uncovered was that the true nature of this and the machinations designed by Dr. Noah Valentine was that he wanted people to question their reality. He wanted to be God, to play God, to be able to will his will into existence through images, not of subtlety, not that we see just through ads, not ones that we see through targeted campaigns, like marketing campaigns that we see in our world, right? Today.
Right.
When you're hungry, all of a sudden you see an ad of KFC, for example, or whatever, A&W for you, Dom.
A&W for me, of course.
Right.
Yes.
But it's very uncanny that as soon as you're hungry, you see that ad.
Yes.
Right.
When nothing should have triggered it, right? At least nothing that you can think of would trigger it.
Yeah.
Except it was just a thought in your mind. So Dr. Noah Valentine took this to an astronomical level. What if instead of what if instead of targeted marketing, screw all of that, I just wanted to create a whole new religion, is what he said. A whole new order. One where he could control what people see and what people believe. And this is why he spent his entire life on perfecting holographic technology. Little by little, every year, he would send out these little probes out into space. And each of them would be programmed to connect to each other once they were all up there. They would all connect in order to beam down laser images from space. They were about at the same height as where your normal satellites are. And they had all the capabilities of everything we already have up there in space. And so what Dr. Noah Valentine did was sell his technology for a very, very low cost. And said that, let me be the lead on this. Let my program be the lead on this. You have to pay nothing, is what he said to NASA, to all the other space agencies. And, that's if you're a space agency spending billions of dollars trying to campaign year after year to your government that we need $500 million, we need $10 billion to send something to space, might not even be successful. That's a hard sell. Whereas Dr. Noah Valentine,
Absolutely.
right? So Dr. Noah Valentine said, "Don't worry about that. You don't have to lobby for this. You don't have to play politics. I will foot the bill. I will just send it up there. You give me a small cut and a few other things. The legalities of it doesn't matter."
Yeah.
Now, the cost saving measures of this alone was very, very enticing. This was the, get rich quick scheme of sending stuff to space. So it only took a couple governments to first allow this to happen until everybody else did. And, nothing went wrong for 15 years. Dr. Noah Valentine has been doing this for since the not early 2000s, around 2010 is when he started. So 20 years have passed, and he's just been casually sending things up into space. Without really much regulations. There haven't been any problems, and if there is, he's going to deal with it. So don't worry about it. Now, what this all culminated into is that he now owns the entire aerospace of just where all the satellites, where the space station is. He owns all of that.
Okay.
He might be the first person to actually own space a little bit. But what he mainly wanted it for was to beam down light images. Now, you might be wondering, can we beam down light images from space? Absolutely, we can. We actually can do it now. In fact, a couple countries have done it for their New Year's events. So, as just little light shows, they're just fun stuff, right? So, It is very possible to do it. But Dr. Valentine wasn't doing this for fun. Well, maybe it was fun to him, but there was a much more sinisterness to it. So, as these journalists led by J. Jonah Jameson started unraveling the papers as one does, right? Peeling back the onion, putting out all the groundworks for this scandalous story. And other people started seeing, okay, wait a second, I see the pattern here. There is something definitely wrong with this Dr. Noah Valentine, even though he won 6 Nobel Peace Prizes. I don't even know how many you can win, but he's won all of them. And nobody really questioned the man up until now. And as people started questioning him, his employees started speaking out. He started losing control over all of it. And even when he tried putting his holograms of disasters like he had before and trying to orchestrate a real disaster, you see, he couldn't anymore, because back then when he was doing it, it was simply time to perfection. He had the inside knowledge of when a earthquake was going to happen or a tsunami was going to happen. or when it wasn't going to happen, or when a country was going to invade another one. He had all this inside information at one point, and he used it perfectly during that time. He no longer had that information with him anymore. He now thought he had absolute power. Why would he need to have why would he need to pander to these people to get information? He thought he had absolute. Unfortunately, with all things with absolute power, the greater you are, you must fall.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna go
the whole great
with it.
responsibility thing.
Yeah,
No.
was
I think we used too many of those references already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've explored that option.
Yeah. Yeah. I already have J. Jonah Jameson in here, okay?
Yeah,
live with that.
It's like it's gonna go full circle at some point here.
So in the end, boys, as Grandpa Drew was telling this story in 2066 to all the little kids, to his grandchildren, the nieces and nephews of his good friends, Dom and Noah, as he's telling them the story of Dr. Noah Valentine. No relation to either of you.
Yeah.
In the end, humanity triumphed over this orchestrated deception. And Dr. Noah Valentine's legacy became a cautionary tale. One that we started teaching kids from a very early age of what not to do and what not to become. But also, there is some symbolism in here. And to Dr. Noah Valentine's credit, in a way, ironically, he did create a religion. A fake one. But one that had massive consequences in the modern times. One that was very much debatable in the real world. Nothing about things from thousands of years ago. No, this was now. And people were able to see why creating these types of religious cults or groups of people with one singular goal, worshiping one singular thing, why it's so detrimental to society. So, to Dr. Noah Valentine's credit, he was the first and last person to usher humanity into a stage where they evolved from their archaic methods, no longer believing in these religions or faiths. So, to his credit, his Project Bluebeam, while an absolute crazy invention of holographic technology to masterfully control the human world, it, at the end of the day, it taught humans that there is more out there in the universe than the things that bind us to this planet. And we can't be worshiping false ideologies, literally false ideologies, because they were holograms.
Actually created,
right? So the world emerged from the shadows of Project Blue, forever changed and resilient to bullshit going forward. And humanity started adopting a more understanding approach, which kicked off in 2200, the first space exploration. That is it. This story.
Okay.
The end.
The end.
Now, before we get to conclusions, right? Before I tell you whether whatever I just said was real or not, what are your thoughts?
Well, we haven't hit 2030 yet, so pretty sure I know which one it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I could just be making up dates that, might have happened in the past, but I'm just putting it into the future.
The future. But here's the thing, because when I think of certain things that you say in terms of having a sort of singular religion or a singular goal in a society or singular belief in a society, it's not something that's far-fetched, because we see that on a smaller scale, right?
Yeah.
When you look at organized religion as a whole today, we have multiple faiths and we have people that have different practices, different beliefs. But at one point, you would have, for instance, the Crusades, where you had a specific group that would go and impose their beliefs on a different group, right? I mean, it's not something that hasn't happened in the past. So it's not as if it's a far-fetched story in that one, if someone has the means and the ability to do it in terms of cost, because I mean, it would be expensive to kind of create a holographic program like that. But if you had the means and the actual funding to do something like that, let's be honest, like you said, if imagine you're in, fucking nowhere, middle of nowhere, and you see, Weebus Christ, it's not Jesus, it's Weebus, it's whoever, right?
Yeah,
copyrighted.
Like Christ.
You know what I mean? Like, who are you gonna tell? Like, you're in nowhere. Like, why would somebody randomly be putting up this hologram in the middle of nowhere, right? Like, to you, logically speaking, it wouldn't make sense for someone to invest their time in something that wouldn't be investigated, right? So, like, if I'm in the middle of nowhere and I see this thing and I don't know about anything about holographic technology, and I just see this, this apparition in the sky, I'm like, realistically, how is that any different to thousands and thousands of years ago if you had done that same thing to people who wrote the Bible, right? Like,
through like scriptures and stuff. Yeah.
How would that be any different from that, right?
Right.
Like, realistically, we're the same humans as those humans. So we're just as easily tricked, right?
Same.
They're not any dumber than us. They're not any smarter than us. They just have different information. That's it, right? So I could see that being a thing. Like, I could see, I can see that kind of
manipulation on that scale.
Yeah, because it's like, real talk. We've got films that are fiction, but portray things like that. Like, for instance, when you talk about holographic technology, was that not the plot, like the plot of Spider-Man? What was it?
Far Away From Home.
Far From Home, or whichever one it was. The second one.
That's exactly why I used J. Jonah Jameson.
Right. That's Spider-Man right there.
Yeah.
I mean, the character, like Noah Valentine, that's Valentine from Kingsman. It's not. That's his plan, was basically like, I'll give shit out for free. Everybody can have. Everyone can have my technology. It's easy. Have it. You know
what's funny? It was actually just called Dr. Valentine in the beginning when I started writing the story, and I was like, wait a second.
That was Kingsman. That's Valentine, right? Like, it was literally his plan was give out everything. Give it for free. People will take it. Like, most of the time, if you want to spread something easily, that's why look at gaming now is for a fact, like, free to play games. Like, they get so many people on board because there's no barrier to entry. It's free, right?
Oh, on the free to play games, the most interesting thing is, World of Warcraft. Like, they have their monthly subscription. That game, on one microtransaction item, made more money in 24 hours than all of Overwatch 2 sold ever.
Yeah.
So putting out things that people want just to appease their little tastes is very attractive.
And that's on a smaller scale then.
It's a very small scale. Yeah. And going into the whole conspiracy of this, we already see it starting to happen. We got superpower people with mega investments. In our lifetime, we'll be seeing satellite worldwide internet. And maybe the same person is also into space travel and also has a few satellites out there already. And
I wonder who shoots up satellites.
is looking at providing free things to get more power in the world.
Yeah.
You can guess whoever you wish. There's a few actually.
There's actually a few. Yeah.
There's quite a few.
Yeah. So I see some merit in this, and I feel like it could already be happening because like you all remember when they did like, oh, we'll set up drone light shows over uncontacted tribes and showing images of deities.
Yeah.
Which arguably is quite hilarious if you really think about it.
If you think about it, it is, but it's like it's
funny.
incredibly fucked.
Bad. It's bad.
It's real
It's
bad,
hilarious.
but yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was also from the Spider-Man movie. It was all drones projecting an image.
Yeah.
Drone technology is really big now, and I could see it getting better and better. For instance, like monitors and displays, eventually you won't even need one because it can just generate a stop and end point for its projections.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's something that will happen. It's just right now we're limited by materials, but hey, it's all coming more and more fresh thinking people. So I could see something like this, like a mega corporation developing a world religion and like, oh, anything for the company.
Yeah. For the greater good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on a out of 10 on a believability scale, what would you guys say? So like the years that I gave are like I'll reveal the thing in a bit, but in just a second. But like the years I gave, like 2030 and all that stuff, those are just different years I took from the actual
to
story.
throw it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So on a believability scale, what would you guys say out of 10?
Okay.
Like if personally speaking, like if you were in there during that time, like would you believe it?
See, it's difficult in that we know that in today's world, media is king, right? Like when you talk about belief and faith and information, media is all of those things, right? If you was to, you can even consider the blind faith we have in media as a sort of religion in itself. Like everybody is a follower of it, everybody consumes it, and it has more people from more faiths and more creeds than any other organized religion that is participating in it. So believability wise, if you're going to put something out there and you do it through the media and you make it accessible to pretty much anyone who has a phone in their hand, that's not that difficult. We see that today. So like believability wise, like that's high. Like it's, I mean,
we all remember when we got forced upon a U2 album.
On
all of our devices. Okay, so they can do this.
Every time I try to connect my phone to my mom's Bluetooth in the car. Her iPhone connects first, and that fucking U2 song is playing every single time. Forced upon us.
Yep.
So I'm gonna. Sorry. Go ahead.
I have a high believability scale. And I'm going to say it's like a full 20 years earlier than the dates you predicted. Like it's, I'm saying that it's like, okay, we had this stuff happen in 2010.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Noah. Because like when you consider it, there's no technology that you've said that is, science fiction.
Yeah, it's not crazy.
It's not like you said teleportation, things like that.
Yeah, like all of those things exist today.
Yeah.
Maybe in different capacities of usage, but it's technology that exists. So like, I couldn't say that this is something that just doesn't like, oh, that's far-fetched.
Like,
it's not.
If you think of media, we only get told 10%.
Yeah.
The rest of the story is buried because of barriers. Like if we're saying that the rest of the 90% is that conspiracy, I think that it could be very true.
Yeah.
Right. So
if you also think of it, like think about watching the news, like world news. Doesn't matter which channel you watch, like news that is not regional, that is more world news.
Yeah.
Same. Same message.
you've probably seen those videos of the news anchors telling the exact same story
Yeah.
in sync.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this Project Bluebeam is what the conspiracy theory is called, and it actually is a conspiracy theory. I mean, like, there's nothing to concretely prove that world governments are colluding with each other to create this field in space where they're going to project images by connecting essentially satellites together that have the projection capabilities. But this conspiracy theory actually originates back from the early 1990s. And it suggests everything I said, like, in that made up story, which is that powerful global entities, including, your government, NATO as well, plan to use and grow advanced technology. And essentially they do this behind the scenes in order to control the mass population. But before they put things out into space, they do, their market research and all that stuff through targeted ad campaigns, seeing what people like and what people don't like, always churning out the same shit over and over again. But like, it works because it gets majority of the people to like things, right? So basically, in a nutshell, what it is, it's like false messiahs, religious deceptions, global catastrophes. That was actually one of the things where they fully believe that certain global catastrophes actually didn't happen in the world. So that's what these conspiracy theorists believe. Mass mind control, as I said, and they just, in a nutshell, they thought that Project Bluebeam, as it sounds, beaming down these images would make us believe in some sort of mantra of like a new world order. It would control people, and like a lot of people also believe that it's because we got off the gold reserve, and so now that nothing really there's no real value to anything. And so just people can just make shit up as they go along. Certain things like, I mean, even today, like the same people who believe this also think, like, look, e-girl gamer water selling for gazillion dollars. Like, what conscientious race would ever do that, right? Like, so it's like, it's easy to mass manipulate the people. So so if it's easily done by like just regular people on the internet, like what could a group of concentrated people do, right?
With a deliberate goal in mind as well.
And with the powers to do so, right? So even for me, I would say that while I don't believe in the actual conspiracy of Project Bluebeam, I do believe that there's certain elements of it, like you guys both hinted, where there's always this underlying message. 20 years ago, AI was bad. The last 5 years, AI is great. Vision, who's an AI, is one of the greatest heroes. We love him. He's amazing, right? Whereas 20 years ago, if you put Vision on the screen, he'd probably be like the main villain, right? So like, it just some small stuff like that where like the message changes, and then obviously there's the other things that we won't talk about today, but like with the woke culture and all that stuff. But like all of that, you can kind of see that there are certain elements of Project Bluebeam that might be real, but Project Bluebeam itself is actually a conspiracy. There's no congruent like evidence saying like that's what's happening. So
of course,
which would really be by design, right? Like, if you
would that be part of the conspiracy, because we only see 10% of
exactly
the media?
like
right.
I feel like you wouldn't want this documented anywhere if you're really doing this, right?
Right. Who knows? Maybe I've been told to talk, like, this is the one conspiracy I've been wanting to talk about. So who knows? Maybe I was tasked to talk about it in a way that makes you not believe it.
We have been seeing an influx in your growth, so I don't know. Maybe.
Oh yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But
who knows?
This was a fun one. So
food for thought.
For thought.
Nothing is real.
Yeah. Yeah. None of this is real. This is all editing. Cue the ending music. Bye-bye.
Yeah.